Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us. My name is Helen Liu, and I'm the Programming and Partnerships Manager at Cary Library. Before we begin, I want to take a moment to thank the Cary Library Foundation. Their support enables us to bring programs like tonight's event to you. Tonight, Chef Zainab Alsubai will be teaching us how to make baklava. You have received a list of ingredients and are welcome to follow along or just watch. This program is being recorded and will be posted to the library's YouTube channel. If you have any questions, please enter them into the Q&A and Chef Zainab will answer them when she has time. Now I'd like to welcome Chef Zainab. Zainab Alsubai loves to cook, invent new recipes, and teach others. She has been running cooking classes since 2016. For Zainab, teaching someone how to cook Middle Eastern food is an art in itself. It is a reflection of the area's history, the customs of its people, and ways of life. Middle Eastern cuisine is so special. By using the freshest herbs, spices, and aromatics generously, she keeps the traditions alive. Welcome, Chef Zainab. We are so excited to get started.
Hello. Thank you, Helen. I would like to welcome everyone to my class. Tonight we're making homemade baklava, or as we call it in Arabic, baklava with awab. So as Helen introduced, we are going to first go through the ingredients. So the ingredients, we start with the main ingredients of the baklava is basically the nuts, and you can use any type of walnuts, pistachio, like actually sometimes, when I get creative, I use pistachio, and rose water, sugar, and the main ingredients too is the phyllo dough. As for tonight, we're gonna actually start with half of the phyllo dough. I use this brand. I like this brand actually. So I'm gonna use half of what's in the box. And then we also use butter. When it comes to butter, it's really person preferences. I like mine really buttery, and so it's more tasty. So this is one stick of melted butter. And then as far as the walnuts, we are gonna have 3 cups of walnuts. And then for the syrup, we're gonna have 2 cups of sugar and 1 cup of water, in addition to a small squeeze, like, a quarter of a lemon for the syrup, and then a little bit also of the rose water. And with that, actually, I like to have my classes interactive. So if you have any questions, please bring them in. Helen will pass them through and I can answer them as we are going through the recipe and the making of the baklava. Okay. So with that, I will start with 2 cups of sugar. You know if it's easier for your angle to see it from this angle?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So
where do you purchase phyllo? So,
Market Basket. They also have it sometimes in some season at Trader Joe's, but mostly you can find it in Market Basket in the international freezer section, where they sell also the Greek's pastry.
okay. And the same person asked, do you use a specific thickness?
No, any thickness should work. Like, just the one that comes out of the box. And if you like it like more thick, you can just add more layers. So that is almost 1 cup.
And someone asked if the pistachios are raw.
Yes, and they should be raw and not even roasted. They should be really fresh. And same thing with the walnut. Tonight I'm going to use walnut because they are just easier to make it with. And it's it's unsweetened, raw, nothing added to it, no additives.
A lot of time pistachios are just used for decoration as well.
Yep, you can do that. Like especially with ground pistachios. It's, yeah, you can use it for on the top of, I like it on the top of ice cream, but I like it on the top of my baklava. Okay, so that makes it 2 cups here. And 1 cup water. And then,
So 2 cups sugar, 1 cup water.
yes, and then a drop of rose water and like 1/4 lemon of a lemon juice.
Lemon juice. Want to increase?
It's no, it's actually, it's good for now because I don't want it to. It's like medium heat. Okay, just 1 drop, and also another 1 drop, or like actually 3 drops. 1, 2, 3. And this one is unsweetened. I added to it just like a few minutes ago. I added 2 spoons of sugar. If you have a powdered sugar, that also is good for it. But when it cooks, it's going to be melted anyway, so it should be good.
How many cups of walnut is that?
This is 3 cups of walnuts. And I don't think we will use the entire 3 cups. I think we're going to use a little bit less, but you know, it depends how thick you want it, your baklava. So raise this a little bit. I'm just waiting for the sugar to melt. And actually, one more thing we would like to do is to turn the oven to 360 degrees, like 5 minutes before we start layering the baklava. So I'm going to do that now. So it's going to, 350, or let's do it 60. And
360, right?
Yep. Yeah. Nothing in the oven. Yep.
Nothing in the oven. 360. Somebody is asking, what ethnic tradition does this recipe come from?
So that's a really good question. So the baklava is basically, I think it's in every Middle Eastern country, and they do it different way, different shape. But the one that I learned from my family, it's from Saudi Arabia. Like, I'm from Saudi, so I learned it in Saudi. And they also, even in Saudi, like in different part of Saudi Arabia, they do it different ways. But this one is basically the most common one that's usually even served in restaurant and sweet stores. So actually, this is almost going to be done. Like, we just wait until the water starts boiling, and then we turn the heat off. But like, I see like all the sugar is dissolved.
Does it has to be moved continuously?
Yes, because you don't want the sugar to stick in the bottom.
How much water is it?
One cup. We said for each 2 cups, 1 cup. So it's like the water is half the measurement of the sugar. And also, if you like it, you know, sweet, more sweet than that, you can do that. You can add more, but I like it to have, you know, half.
So we have 2 cups sugar, 1 cup water, and a little bit of lemon and rose water.
Rose water. So you see, like, it's all dissolved. I'm just waiting for it to boil, and then we should. Yeah, it's like a little bit more than medium heat, but if you like, you know, for it to take longer, just put it in low heat. And when I am at home, I do it on low heat. It's just like, this is the way I cook. I like everything to simmer.
Does it help in developing the taste?
It's, you know, personal preferences, I would say.
What are your traditions around this recipe, Zainab?
So usually I don't make it just for us at home. it's either I am having people over or I am going to someone house. Like I know if I have it at home, I'm gonna eat the entire tray. So I try, like that's definitely not something I would make every day, and it's something I have to share with people. Actually, see now it started like to thicken, which is nice. It's getting the good texture. So, and you need to make sure you don't turn the heat off until you reach the thickness you want, because like after you turn it off, nothing is gonna happen. It's not gonna thicken. So just make sure like you set it to the heat, to the thickness you like. And we are almost done with it. Just waiting for it to boil. And you don't want to put it in high heat because then it will like brown. It becomes like very brown. You don't want to do that. So just let it simmer for a few more minutes. You gotta know if you see the bubbles.
Yeah.
Yeah, coming up.
So approximately how long does this
I would
take?
say between 5 to 10 minutes, but also, it depends. Like if you put it in high heat, it will, become ready quicker, but you run the risk of basically the sugar getting brownish, and you don't want that because you wanted the natural color for the baklava. Yes, this is almost done. And I could see it's really nice thickness. So actually, since we started, I would say 8 minutes now. Let's give it 2 more minutes.
I'm seeing that you're continuously mixing it.
Yes, you have to.
That's an
Otherwise,
important step.
yes, that's a very important step because then the sugar will stick in the bottom of the pot and you don't want that. Okay, so now when you stop mixing it, you see all the bubbles. That's when it's ready to turn the heat down or turn it off, actually all the way. And then just cover it. And here. It smells actually really good.
It does.
The smell of rose water. So now we're gonna start making our layers. So as I said, we're gonna take only half of what we have. So how many layers? I usually like to put 3 layers on the top and 3 layers on the bottom. And you have to remember we're using a small baking pan, so we're gonna fold it. So that would be 6 in the bottom, 6 in the top. Okay. Yeah. 2, 6. Okay. That's 6. Okay. And then we're gonna just wrap the rest of this so it doesn't dry out.
How fast does it dry out? Like
You just want it, to make sure it's always covered. It doesn't dry out very quickly, but just then have to have a nice knife. So for now, I'm gonna cut it to 2 pieces. So for the top and the bottom. Okay, any more questions from attendees?
if anybody has a question.
Yes, please. Okay, so this is actually the fun part. I usually do that in other classes when there are kids. They love to do this part.
Do you take kids classes as well?
Yes. And especially like actually the last few classes I did were like at someone as a kid birthday party. They loved it. Okay, So actually, let me also do that so we can have a layer of butter in the bottom. And as I said, this is only one stick. If you don't like to use all of it, you want it, your baklava to be light, you don't have to. So just do it like this. And with time, you'll see we're gonna cover all the area.
So that's the first sheet going in.
Yes, that's the first sheet. And I choose a small baking pan, just like for simplicity. That way. Okay, come on. And again, I'm gonna fold it. And then now we're gonna try to cover the areas that we didn't cover the first time. And we keep doing this.
Since you folded it, is
Mhm.
it considered 2 layers?
Yes, that is correct. But again, like, you know, they are so thin. So you really don't need to worry about that. Oh, it's going to be just a lot of dough. No, it isn't. And especially when it's a crispy, you wouldn't feel it's a lot of layers because by the time we cook it, it's going to be very crispy in the bottom and in the middle and in the top. So you really didn't need to worry about, oh, that's two. I always do that.
They're so thin, they come
They are
together.
so thin, yeah. Which is good, actually. I like it to be like this. Okay. So you see, like, we almost cover the entire baking.
If you can't use butter, what would you recommend?
Ooh, that's a tough question. So definitely I wouldn't recommend vegetable oil. I one time, you know, like I had a friend who was going on a diet and she said, yeah, I want it light. And I really felt it was just so disgusting. I was like, it's not even worth to make it. If it's gonna be made with vegetable oils, definitely not. Like sometimes, you know, like what I do, I mix olive oil with butter. So you still have the taste of butter, but not a lot, you know, like not like the same fat saturation. And with olive oil, it's very healthy. So, but what I don't like, you know, about using the entire olive oil, I feel it's like it changed the taste. So I usually mix butter and olive oil.
What about ghee?
So what is like ghee is good, but I feel it's very heavy.
Okay, ghee
Yeah.
is very heavy.
Yeah. So like sometimes also, yeah, I mixed like, you know, ghee, a little bit of olive oil, and a little bit of butter. Like for me, I prefer butter because I like the smell of butter.
Mm.
Yeah. But yeah, ghee is
Somebody
good.
is asking margarine.
No. Definitely like not the margarine. It wouldn't taste as good.
Mm. Isn't ghee a clarified butter?
Yes, correct. But it's heavier because it's like, it's basically the cream of the butter, right? So, okay, so we are done.
How many sheets did we put?
So I think, so we choose 6 sheet. So that's half of the 6 and we fold them. So that would be 12.
So 12 sheets.
Yeah, but that's 12. It's because we are using really small baking pan. Okay, and with that, I'm gonna measure actually. I think this is 4 cups, but I don't think we're gonna use all of it.
Can you tell again what was in the walnuts?
Just sugar, 2 spoons of sugar, and then 4 cups of walnuts.
With a little bit of rose water.
Yes, with like 3 drops of rose water. Okay, so that's one.
And just pat it on top.
Yes.
Level it.
Yep.
What type of flavor does the rose water impart? Is it like a floral type of water?
It doesn't have strong flavor, I would say yes, but it's really more for the smell.
Okay.
Because it's just like very small amount. like if you didn't know it's there, you wouldn't know it's there.
Is rose water a staple of Middle Eastern
Yes.
cuisine?
Yeah, and everything, like even in rice and sweets and like puddings. Definitely, you wouldn't have a Middle Eastern pudding that doesn't have rose water. So we bought so far, this is the third one.
So 3 cups of that. Where do you buy your rose water?
Market Basket. It's actually in the Greek section where they have the pickles.
It's in the spaghetti pasta aisle, actually.
Oh, they change it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because before it used to be in the, where they have the pickles and they have the grilled, like canned eggplants. That's what they used to have.
Yeah, today when I got it, it was in the pasta aisle.
So now what we do is just try to cover it, make it look nice. And so here now we have the top layers. And for the top layers, we're also gonna butter it.
It looks very easy.
It
It's
is
an easy recipe.
Yes, it is an easy recipe.
Maybe receive a copy of the recipe. Thank you.
Sure.
Yes, so we did send out the recipe. I'm sorry, we sent out the ingredients. We will send a more detailed recipe in the recap along with a link to the recording.
Oh, wow, it started to dry, you see?
Yeah.
It used to be much easier to fold, like,
Does it matter if it's a little broken or dry?
no, it doesn't matter at all. It's all gonna taste good. You just need to make the top layer looks nice, and then it's not gonna show. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? Because now it started to dry, I'm gonna do it in between them before I put them there. Yeah. Yeah, like all these broken section are actually good to be like for the layers in between. So you didn't need to throw anything away. Everything is gonna come together and it's gonna look nice.
It doesn't matter how you fold it.
No, it doesn't.
How many times you
Yes,
fold
it
it.
doesn't matter. As long as at the top you have it like looks even, it doesn't matter.
Does butter go on the side, inside or outside of the fold?
In both, it doesn't matter because it's gonna like, so for example, I have seen people usually, especially in big factories, what they do, they melt the butter, they put them without butter, and then they put it in the top, and then it just like sieve underneath it during cooking. But for me, I feel it's easier to do with layers because then, we're not making big amounts, like, it's like we're making really small amount and it just look nicer.
It's also therapeutic.
Yeah. Yeah, so like, for large amount, like I've seen it in factories, that's what they do. So like you see now it started to look nice. And then you fold them, like try to make, this go inside so you didn't have anything. And since now we end up with the last one, I'm gonna leave this looks nicer. I'm gonna leave it for the top. I'm gonna have this one. Oh, we have 2 more. Okay. So this one.
Is the phyllo dough difficult to work with? Is it sticky at all, or is it
No.
just?
It's so easy. And you can use it like for other, like, savory recipes. Like we have a dish that basically has a spinach and feta cheese. I usually make a dish that they are like instead of the walnuts, I would have ground beef. And you do it the same way, except the one you make it with the ground beef, you don't put a lot of butter because the ground beef is like really buttery. So you try to just like put it, actually in that case, olive oil is really good because it's lighter and you're gonna have a lot of fat in the ground beef anyway.
Someone
in
asked
between,
if,
but yeah,
I'm
go
sorry,
ahead.
someone asked if you can add honey to the walnuts.
Yes, you can. Yep. And actually, if you like, you're on a sugar-free diet, you can just make the entire thing without the sugar and inside it, because you're not supposed, to heat the honey. And then you just put the honey as syrup, like you're putting the syrup and after it's cooked. Okay. So this is the last layer. And it looks good. So we're gonna butter it. So then it will be much easier to cut. Yeah, you have to be generous in the top layer because that's, how it's gonna become crispy. Okay. And now just wash my hands and start cutting.
Is the shape of the pan traditional?
No, any shape will work. Usually, if I'm making it in big, in large quantity, I use actually this size, and for that you use the entire box. Okay, so we're gonna start. You see, we're gonna start the cutting. So just to be sure we don't, and then you're gonna cut it again after baking, but this is just like, to make it easier later. When I could feel like the butter is seeping inside after I start cutting. Okay, one more. No, perfect. I can actually cut it this way. This is actually the tricky part of the making of the baklava. It's like making sure you do not mess it up when you're cutting. It's really not easy, but we're gonna do it. Okay. Yeah, and we can always fix it later. Okay. You need to be very careful. And you didn't need to go all the way down because you're gonna cut it again, like on these marks, you're gonna cut it after cooking. After you finish baking it. I'm gonna do this like this. Okay. Ah, go fix it.
So did you basically cut horizontally and then now
Yes.
diagonally?
Yes. And you can cut it any shape you like. But since this is a really small amount, we're like, trying to cut it this way, that way you have as much pieces as you have, because everybody want a piece. Okay. And so now it looks good. Just put this back. Put this back. This back. And then one more back. Looks good. And I'm gonna cut here too, just like, to give, because we have a lot of kids and I want each child to have at least a small piece to taste it. Okay. So, okay, we're done with this. And I'm gonna remove these. Actually, that's a nice thing of having a lot of layers now. After cutting it, we can actually, and you could see the butter started to cool. down. So I'm gonna microwave it for another 30 seconds. Actually, I'm gonna microwave it for 16. That would be.
It is supposed to be a liquid again?
A little bit, because it's easier to deal with. Like, you know, if it's like, you know, just like the butter texture as a room temperature, it will be harder to manage. Like you see, with this one, we didn't need to brush all of them, but we can just put the drops. Okay, come on, come down there. Okay. Okay. And with that, we can just have this one too. You just want to make sure, because if you don't have enough butter in the around it, it will like become more brown than the rest of it. So this is good. And with that, we are ready to bake it. And since this is a small one, I would say we would bake it for 25 minutes. But I usually, what I do, I check on it from time to time, because, you know, I like, some people likes it like very brownish, some people like it just gold. I like a gold. So let's just wait for it.
What was the temperature again?
360.
360. Zainab, what are your traditions of Ramadan around this dish?
So as I said, with this dish, it's kind of special because it's a sweet. It's either I only make it when, and because it's also easy to make, I only make it when I am having people over or going, you know, to someone's for iftar or dinner. But as far as other dishes, like we do a lot of, you know, dish preparation, like the 10 days before Ramadan. Like, you know, frozen stuff, sambusa, egg rolls, a lot of frozen stuff that, you know, during the Ramadan days, you just get them out, grill them in the air fryer, or just like for people who likes fried food, fry them. And what we for just these away. Like, I feel like half of my cooking is usually cleaning and, you know, making the place looks nice or tidy. So, oh yeah, and for the rest of the baklava, we'll just make sure it looks nice. We'll wrap it as it came from the store, put it back in its package, and then we'll just freeze it. Since it wasn't frozen before, you can just freeze it until next time you want to make another dish.
Oh, you can refreeze this.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Like when I buy it from the store, I usually get half of the box out and then freeze the rest right away. So just put it back. And put it next time.
Someone had a question about, is it for breaking a fast or Eid?
I would say it's mostly like made for Eid, but even, you know, just like for the Ramadan night, usually they have it like once or twice during the month of fasting.
It's a festive dish, right?
Yes, it is.
And someone asked if we can use honey and cinnamon. I'm assuming they mean in the nuts, maybe?
Yes. But like, I wouldn't recommend, cooking it with honey because you're not supposed to eat honey. So I usually, when I like do it that way for people who are on like sugar-free diet, I mean like actual sugar diet, I usually just put cinnamon without the honey, and then put the honey on the top.
What other types of sweets do you usually prepare for this time?
So we make mamul, which is cookies stuffed with dates and pistachio, also sometimes walnuts. We actually use that same, like in my house, when I have leftover of this, I just like, make mamul and then stuff the cookie doughs with this, whatever is left. And then what else? We make a lot of cookies, different type of cake, like sponge cake, turmeric cake. So yeah, we like, we have a lot like things like, for example, the cookies, we make them before Ramadan. So then you freeze them. And then when you have people over, especially in the long nights of Ramadan, when you have people over, you just take them out of the freezer for like 15, 20 minutes. And then, serve them with coffee or tea.
What is one dish that is not available here and you wish back from your country, you wish that you could have it again here?
As far as ingredients, I cannot think of anything because I cook. We don't eat out a lot. So for me, I feel like everything that they cook back home, I'm able to find the ingredients and cook it. So I know it's like it's for people who don't cook, it's not a fair question. But for me, because like I cook, I love to cook, I enjoy cooking. Like when COVID started, basically that's all we did. We like walk, we exercise, and then come home and cook every single day. So I feel like the nice thing about like the supermarket in the US, it's like they are so diverse. So even if they don't have the dish itself, they have the ingredients. So I'm able to just get the ingredients and cook.
Does Ramadan apply to a 1 or 2-year-old child?
No. I mean, the festivity, yes, not the fasting.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? No.
Okay, so let's check on our dish. Looks good. Look at the bubbles and the.
Can I do it closer?
Yeah. Do you have what is the light? I could see.
Is it okay if we open the oven during?
Yes, because it's not rising, like it's the same thickness you're putting it in. So actually this is why, baklava is an easy dish, because it's fun. It's not a cake, it's not gonna rise. You can check on it as much as you could, unless you have children, around. You don't wanna open the oven every now and then, because then they will get interested.
What is the age limit to Ramadan? I mean, I think they're asking for fasting.
It depends on the health, right? And it depends on a lot of factors. It's not about just the age limit. So like I know, for example, back home, usually like the kids want to imitate the parents. So by middle school or like even 4th and 5th grade, all the kids want to fast because they want to feel the festivity of it. But I mean, as far as like just fasting, it depends on the health of the person. Like, if a woman is pregnant or someone has a health issue, they are not supposed to fast. So it depends on the health of the person and the situation of the person. Because the idea of fasting is basically feeling, how other people who don't have food, basically having empathy with them. So it's really not something that it's not something that if you cannot do it, it's imposed on you.
Are there special dishes that you have when you break your fast?
Yes, you have to break your fast with date. That's the first thing. I mean, when I say you have, it's basically became a tradition. So like even kids who don't eat or don't like dates all year round in Ramadan, like everybody is like gathered around the dinner table and eating. They start their breaking their fast with dates. I've seen in other places they do dates and milk. Some places they do dates and
Rose water?
rose
Rose
water.
water drink?
Yeah, and then like back home when I was growing up, and actually it is still there back home in Saudi Arabia, they break their fast with dates and yogurt drink.
Oh,
Yeah. Actually, the way I serve them at home, I just put them in a sweet plates, small, like, plate, or usually you serve them with coffee. So just like next to the coffee saucer.
who's your inspiration for cooking? You said you cook a lot. Who
My
inspired you?
grandma, she was such an excellent cook. She passed away, but when I was a little kid, she used to cook in the house and like on wooden fire pit. So like she will, like the first chore that she does in the morning is she starts a fire, and like all of us will wake up and smell the fire burning, like the woods burning. So it's definitely my grandmother.
We had a question about storing rose water once you open it. Do you put it in the refrigerator or?
Yeah, I usually just put it in the door of the refrigerator because, like, and for me, I use it all the time. So sometimes, and especially, in the Boston area, it's not that hot. So I use it all the time. So I don't put it. But yeah, if you're not going to use it for a long time, just put it inside, like make sure it's, the lid is on, and you'll make sure you put it in the fridge.
Have you made other versions of the baklava? And if you do, what other ingredients do you put into it?
So I tried it with actually a lot of people like it with pistachio. So I do it with pistachio. With pistachio, it's actually much easier to, because you didn't have to put anything to the pistachio other than the sugar. And the pistachio has its own smell. So you don't need, if you don't have rose water, you can do it without the rose water.
What nuts are typical in Saudi Arabia?
Everything, because everything is, I would think like 90% of the nuts are imported. So everything, yeah. It's like, pistachio, walnut, hazelnut, pecan, everything.
And especially the dates are very.
Yes, and especially with the dates, like, they usually, because the date is like the national Saudi fruit. So you see it like in all the stores being stuffed with either pecan or walnut. And then dipped in chocolate and dipped in caramel, and it just like, dipped in everything you could imagine. Sometimes it's made into small balls and like dipped in coconut. So yeah, but it's actually nuts is very like common ingredients in a lot of Saudi cooking and many Saudi cuisines all around the country.
Do you travel back to Saudi Arabia?
Yes.
Are there food you would want to bring back with you?
I usually bring dates, a lot of dates with me.
We usually know about majhul dates. What other kinds of dates?
There is sugary, there's class, there are at least 70 types.
70
types, yeah. And each area of Saudi Arabia has its own type of palm trees. So the center of Saudi Arabia is very famous for the sugary, and it's also the shape is different. The east coast of Saudi, they have the long shape, but it's less sweetened. Like even though when I say sweetened, it's like less sweet, when it comes out of the tree, of the palm tree. But yeah, there are 70, actually even more than that. And they usually actually in the summer between June, July, and August, they have dates festivals all over, bazaars for dates, and they sell it, as I said, with like caramel and nuts and and cooking. Like actually, the last time I was in Saudi, for the first time I've seen the imitation of Nutella, but it's actually sweetened. It's chocolate sweetening with date sugar, which was like, I was like, wow. When I tasted it, I was like, I have to bring that every time I come to the US. I have to bring that with me.
Someone asked, what do fresh dates taste like?
Heaven. It's not as sweet as when it's like the
Dried.
when it's dried or like pickled, but it tastes really good, and because it's a crunchy, so that crunch, that's something yes, I miss about like having a fresh date. Actually, let's do one more check. Ooh, started to properly. Smells so good. And it smells so good. I don't want to use the pro-oil. Like sometimes I use the low pro-oil, but we're not rushing because it seems people are interested and bringing more questions, so we can wait. Yeah, I usually use like, if I'm in a rush, I use the low pro-oil. I like stare at it so I don't burn it.
Are fresh dates in a shell or pod?
No, they are just like normal as you see them. They are not in a shell. They are not in a. They just like the dates that we see here. It's usually like just they are left on the tree until they reach that stage of being green.
Can we get them in the US? Fresh dates.
I have seen them in some Middle Eastern store, but because they cut them before they are half done, because the way that you're supposed to cut them when you have a little bit of the gooey section, they usually here cut them before so they can have more shelf lives. So yeah, I've seen them here, but I usually don't buy them from that like Middle Eastern store. I've seen them even a few times at just the supermarket when they are in season.
Which Middle Eastern store do you recommend here?
I actually, because I go to Saudi a lot of, often, I usually just get everything from there. So I really didn't go like, and especially now that the supermarket have their own Middle Eastern section, I feel it just like, it's close by. If I need something, I'll go get it. So yeah, I don't go to Middle Eastern stores. I don't know if there are around like few around here in Lexington. I don't know.
What are some of the popular desserts in Saudi Arabia?
There is like, as I said, ma'moul, which is the cookie filled with dates or pistachio cookies. There is also halwa, which is corn flour with sugar. There is rice pudding with rose water and saffron. There is what is it? Date cake. It's like in every store and every supermarket. That's like the go-to dessert. If you are going to someone's house and you don't have anything to cook, just go to the supermarket and get the dates cake. And usually, like the cake is made with dates mix, but also they put like a small pieces like dried date in it. So it's like the carrot cake of version of the cake, and it's like the go-to dessert. There are a lot of dessert like that's made with a dried fruit, like a dried apricot, dried mango. So they do a lot of desserts with dried fruits.
Is marmoul a butter cookie?
Yes. Yep. A lot of butters. But it's usually stuffed, and you have to have a special mold to make it look really nice. So yeah, usually they are stuffed with dates or pistachios or walnuts, or if you have a leftover like tonight, you just make the dough and then put them in the mold.
Well, I'm just gonna eat that. By itself, it looks really good.
Okay, let's do one more check. Ooh, okay, we'll give it 5 more minutes. It's exactly 20 minutes, actually, as I was expecting for a small.
This, guys, in itself is so delicious. The rose water really enhanced the flavor.
Yeah.
It's just delicious.
And sometimes, people like it to put like cinnamon or like sugar, pumpkin sugar in it. For me, I feel like the rose water is just so obvious in it. I don't want to add cinnamon and dilute the rose water. Yeah.
Someone was asking what types of drinks is perfect to have with baklava.
Tea, coffee, Turkish coffee, Saudi coffee, Yemeni coffee. Oh my God. Yes, like any type of coffee. Like I'm a coffee person, but I know a lot of people likes it also with tea.
Someone is asking any extract flavor in the mahmoud.
When you say extract,
I think they're talking about rose water or anything like that in it.
Yeah, usually it's like, a drop or two of the rose water in the, in whatever stuffing you're gonna do.
What is the difference between Greek baklava and Middle East baklava?
Most Middle Eastern store, they mix it with pistachio. It's mostly pistachio. Okay, 2 more minutes, right? Do you have? I just want to move it a little bit. Okay.
So is it basically baking for 20 minutes? Is that the time
Yes.
at
I
350?
just want to move it a little bit so like it will be even. Like it looks really nice, but I just want to even out.
Somebody is asking almond, lemon, or vanilla. I think they're asking for extract flavor.
Oh no, I usually just use the vanilla. And I don't use the extract. I like the actual vanilla. So I usually get the vanilla from Trader Joe's.
And someone must be planning a trip to Saudi Arabia. They said, are there any restaurants or bakeries you would recommend?
Oh, the food there is so good. I mean, like nobody is going to have a problem with finding good food there. I mean,
No favorite restaurants of yours?
I feel like, I am biased.
Mm.
So I don't think, especially in the last few trips, and especially after, like now with all the changes and all like bringing tourists, I've been into a place that I didn't like the food. Even like if you go to just like, street food, or it's just like the food is so good.
Any soup, like in the soup malls or anywhere?
It depends where are you going, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. So let's see. Oh yeah, this is perfect. So I'm gonna turn it off. I'm gonna leave it for another 5 minutes. Let's give it until 8, and then we'll take it out. Okay, it's 8 p.m. So, oh, look at that.
That looks beautiful.
Okay, put it here. Then we're gonna start cutting it.
That looks gorgeous. And while you're cutting that again, someone asked, what are your favorite meals to make for your family?
My poor family. I usually we have, usually lunch is usually a salad. It's like any type of salad. I'm very creative with my salads. So usually it's a salad. Dinner, my family loves pastas, any type of pastas. They love any type of rice dishes, and also they love sweets. So yeah, we always have something sweet, you know, on the counter. Something is sitting on the counter waiting to be eaten.
Somebody's asking, do you have recording of this recipe so we can use it again later if we couldn't remember the steps?
I thought Helen said it's
Yes, Helen is going to share the recipe.
as well as a link to the recording.
So now before.
Oh, I forgot about the syrup.
Yes, we have now to use this.
What are some good Middle Eastern rice dishes?
Baklava, which is the upside down dish. I don't know why it's called maklova, but yes, kabsa, white rice with saffron. And I don't know if you guys hear the sizzling. So you didn't need to use the entire, because this is just a small amount. So we're not gonna use the entire 2 cups of the syrup, because I don't want it to be sweet. And then if people later want to add more syrup, they can. But for now, we'll just like.
So we're just soaking it in.
Yeah, we're just soaking it, but I don't want to use the entire amount. I feel that's enough. And then if you later like to.
That looks amazing.
Oh, you're missing the smell. It's only me and Amber.
Yep.
Enjoying this smell.
Have to say I'm a little jealous.
You're definitely missing out on the smell. Yes, now it's coming. Like if you remove it from the plate without putting the syrup, it will stick. So now it's coming out.
So first put the syrup and then take it out
Yes.
of the pan.
So I think this is
Actually,
yeah, this one's okay. Okay. So start. I just don't want to break it when you are taking it out. Yes. Yes, it's coming out. Oh no. I'm gonna take the first piece is the hardest to take out. Okay.
Can you show it
Okay.
up? Let's examine it from the middle.
I will digest them just the exact one here.
Okay.
Could you use parchment paper on the bottom? Would that help
No.
with sticking? No.
No. Definitely you don't want that, because when you cut it, yeah, this is actually the one dish that I don't use that for. And especially after you put the syrup, it's easy to get out. It's just like it's a small. Yeah, you see, like the rest of them are gonna be easy to get out. Okay.
Somebody says so pretty.
Thank you.
And then somebody's saying, is that a typical size serving?
Yes, unless you have kids, then you have to make it really small. So I think it's ready.
Is the diamond shape traditional?
Yes. Like you didn't see like the cake size unless you are in a restaurant. Usually when it's made at home, it's like really small because you want to have enough for everybody. And also you want to like, have a size that you're not gonna have some left over. So actually we're gonna dissect this piece. So I'm gonna put it in the small.
Over here?
Yeah, no, I'll put it in the small.
Okay.
plate.
I think they also want to see the layers like up close.
Sure. So actually this one is a good one. Okay. So if you put it there, we can. So you see, like, even though we said we're gonna use 6 layers, right? And then they became a 12, it's not that heavy. You didn't feel like, I don't feel it has a lot of layers that you feel, oh, I'm just eating phyllo dough. And then the same thing with the bottom, like we would around the 12 because we wrapped them twice. But like you see, this is the bottom. And oh my God, the bottom color is so nice. Yeah. So.
And over time, when it cools down, it sticks more.
Yes.
So it comes together. The binding part happens
Yep.
after it cools down. Right now, it's really, really hot. That's why
Yeah.
it's coming apart.
And the
easy.
recommendation is actually that you make the syrup beforehand, like 2 or 3 hours. So one of them has to be cold. So it's either the baklava is cold or the syrup is cold, room temperature. And then that's when you have the crunch. Like actually, this one, it wasn't that bad. We're not losing. I could see the crunch. We're not losing the crunch. You guys hear it? But yeah, like, usually you make the syrup like 2 or 3 hours before. So then it's room temperature. Or actually what I do, for example, in Ramadan, what I make like a large amount of syrup for the entire month. And I just put it in mason jars. So I keep them in the fridge. That way, I don't have any crystallized pieces in them. And yeah, you just take it out, even if it's out of the fridge. If the syrup out of the fridge, it's fine. And actually, what I'm going to do, to make it look pretty. And decorate it, and then again, add this.
Also, just that with the syrup.
Yeah, just with the syrup and the rose water.
Amazing.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Somebody's saying thank you for this wonderful session.
You're welcome. Any more questions?
No, that's it.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to enjoy this session with all of you. And thank you, Helen.
Thank you all for joining us today. Thank you, Zainab. You have a good night.